You're such an asshole.
All right, so we need to break out the whip. We have been getting some spectacularly shittily written requests. Put down the pot. Now, I'm not accusing this client. I'm not accusing him of doing the pot, but you all need to set down the pot or the Adderall, wherever the fuck it is. You need to focus. I'm not big on English classes. I'm not big on English classes. You need to be clear, and when you write a request, anything. And I'm looking at this shit, and it only makes the price go up. If I can spend more time figuring out what, so I'm going to read this exactly as it is. I rarely ask for a request since it goes with your recent video, very boomer request. I was wondering if you could do one to show as an example to your fans that I recently bought 2 units on the same lot. I'm renting out the 3-bedroom and living in 1 bedroom, not bragging. I take very little credit other than pulling the trigger the day I saw it. It would have been gone that night, and it was only on the market 3.5 weeks. The home and the unit are both immaculate condition, VA appraised, inspected, etc. The rent pays for more than the mortgage. I even found the perfect renters that will take care of it better than I would. I love what you do, Aaron. Have fun becoming a millionaire soon. Well, I mean, we're all going to become millionaires with Joe Biden. And he says, oh, one last thing. Of course, I'll pay you whatever. But what I meant by the request was, could it be for both me and your fans at the same time? What request? What do you want me to do? So I say, I'm confused. What do you want me to do for a video? And here is pros and cons. Here's what I needed. Pros and cons, a general advice for reviewers looking to move out of the parents' house. Contrast with the guy from today who had the terrible idea to go in with friends on a place. You did it right by renting a duplex and living downstairs. I concur. I'm still wrapping my head around your target demographic of viewers, i.e. boys 17 to 25. To me, at least you give general life advice. It's your life coach laughing out loud. Just kidding. You blend economics into it so well. God, dude, thank you. Holy fucking shit. Guys, look, you're not all on the spectrum. All right. Y'all just didn't have dads or fatherly figures beat the fucking shit out of you so you get to the goddamn point. Regarding my request, my VA loans was huge, so you could include your join the military advice. My requests aren't as much for me, so I try to think of both your position and your viewers. But now I realize that your request videos are meant to be more directed to the viewer paying for the request. I try to help everyone, which made that last minute a little confusing. I'm organizing my notes. Preview. Okay. I said for this, look at that. And I said, if you're interested, I always sign off on this. Has been sculpted and optimized over the years. If you're interested, make the payment here and also inform me here if you do. Then you send me an email. Did you miss my request? Did you inform me? No one is going to make progress in the world if you don't follow the instructions. And I guess I owe you a little bit of apology. I got other morons to deal with, which is hard. This is it. No, it's time to strike back. I got a guy who hasn't paid. He said he paid and then rescinded the payment. So I'm going to name him publicly. We're going to see if that gets it here. So the sentence question: pros and cons and general advice for your viewers looking to move out of the parents' house. Contrast that with the guy that did a terrible idea going with the friends in a place. Okay, so probably the biggest financial issue right now for young people today. Don't go to college. College is not the biggest financial issue. It's rent. It's rent. Should you move out? Obviously, over the years, I have changed my position on whether young people should get out of the house. In times when rent was affordable, I said that's what an independent man does, an independent woman does, is you move out of your parents' house. I would not have considered you an adult if you're still living at home, or what is very common in Gen X, mommy and daddy slipped you a little bit of money well into your 30s. Yeah, I'm strong and independent. I pay for my own stuff. Well, dad bought me the car. Fuck off. But as rents have gone up, it's the biggest financial hurdle to young people today. And I've changed my opinion where it's like, yeah, it's absurd paying $2,000, $2,500 a month for 1 bedroom. Absolutely not. Stay at home, save your money. Now, you then talk about so that addresses the moral quandary of should you move out? No, you shouldn't, not with ridiculous rent prices like that. However, that doesn't mean you just sit there and collect your chicken tendies, put them in your armpits, jerk off to prawn, and play video games and bitch and whine about Donald Trump and Republicans. You need to get off your ass and go do something and use that opportunity to make money, save money, so that invariably you can move out and move out permanently, I would argue. And the strategy, it's not the only strategy. It's more of a, I would call it an extreme strategy, not in the sense that it's extreme and some elements of it are, but I'm saying, well, if we turn all the variables to their, if we turn them all to the left, if we maxed out on these variables, here's what you in theory could do. And I've pointed out that if at starting at 18 you graduate from high school, you negotiate with your parents that you're allowed to stay there rent free, but you're going to work 2 full-time jobs, even if it is for $18 an hour. You take the proceeds, you take the money, throw it in an average returning index fund, blah, 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 assuming things continue on. You could have somewhere between, I'd say at least $100,000, more like 150 to 200,000, depending on stock market performance. And then as a 22-year-old with no debt, lots of money saved up, you could, that 150,000, let's just call it, it knocks out one of several incredibly large financial demons you will have to wrestle with in your life. You can now afford housing, go at least get land, and then look to buy or maybe find a condo or put a serious down payment on a piece of property. And so there you go. That's one huge demon slayed. Or if you just left it in a diversified portfolio of mutual funds, 22 to 65, that's 43 years of compound math. Your retirement is taken care of. You're done. You don't have to worry about it no more. And it just shows you what a tremendous opportunity cost going to college for a worthless degree is, and paying rent, ridiculous amounts of rent, just to merely live and go make your $15 an hour. So, uh, that the question of if you should move out of your parents' house, I think we've answered. No, not right off the bat, save some money. And then the morality of living at home, but you should be doing some working. I think that's been answered. But if you're just living at home collecting chicken tendies and, you know, using a Japanese animation character and trolling on social media, no, then you're failing, and you should be ashamed. So then pros and cons advice if you're looking to move out of the parents' house. All right, so then you're talking about duplexes that you bought one and I bought one. It's the first property I bought, and I turned it into a triplex and rented the basement. This then gets into the larger general discussion of what types of housing can young people afford if you're not Daddy McSuckdick Warbucks and privileged little princess. What if you're a regular, the vast majority of working Joes, working Janes? How can you get into real estate if it's difficult? So the duplex triplex thing is one way to do it, and I did it. I'm a little apprehensive about it today because who are you renting to? You typically rent to younger people or not necessarily poorer people, but generally the average renter probably has a lower income on average than someone who's a homeowner. Not necessarily, but generally poor and generally younger. It's not necessarily even poor, it's just their limited financial means, so there's a higher risk of not getting paid. But my main concern is younger, not even because of age, but because younger people have been indoctrinated to be entitled. You think you're not you, but a lot of people think housing is a right, and how dare you? Um, people get pissed off when the car company repossesses the car. Sometimes they attack the repo man. It's like, you are stealing this car. You didn't make the payment. In other words, people are not only incredibly entitled and victimhood, uh, they're incredibly spoiled. The children. And as more and more Americans start to think they're entitled to free housing, not considering at all that you had to work up a tremendous down payment, you had to get your VA loan, you had to serve in the military, You had to pay there's maintenance and expenses associated with the property. You got to pay property taxes, roof shingles, water heater goals, all this. Most people don't think they go for being children and mom and dad take care of it. What do you think a 5-year-old replaces a water heater? Then they're a 25-year-old and they've never worked a day in their life. Oh, they have a college degree though that says that they're entitled to housing because some academic fuckwit came up with a theory. Uh it's renting. I'd be very reluctant to rent to humans again. Storage facilities, sure. Parking lots, okay. But where humans are involved and they're sleeping on the property in a house, no. And that then you look at that invokes things like tenants' rights, which there should be tenants' rights. You don't want a slum landlord either. But if it becomes a game of locality. A perfect classic example would be the Twin Cities, where at one time you could make money on rental property, not a lot, but you get subsidized or free lodging on your instance. I lived in the basement, I ran out the up two upstairs. I was living for free. It was awesome. Property taxes went up, what was it, 400% in 7 years. Insurance rates can go up. But then also you could get essentially a city council that believes in free housing and housing is a right for all humans, and they start passing laws in anything but name take away the ownership of the property first. So yeah, you own the property, but you can't charge rent that you want. There's rent caps. What do they call it? Rent ceilings. I forgot. Rent control. You got to pay more and more property taxes. And what you find out is you're not really the owner of the property. You're merely the manager who used his or her money to fund it. And now the city is going to tell you what to do with it. And so you really don't own your property in any city or state that has rent control. And then you also got to look at tenants' rights. Some of them allow squatters. So people just come in there like, what was it? A couple months ago, there was the woman that got arrested when she tried to kick a squatter out of her own house. That was New York City. I don't even think that was rental property. I think it was just her home. So you want it's a local game when it comes to rental property. And you don't go where the rules are absolutely skewed against you. You just don't go there. You don't buy property. You don't become a landlord. And then they can bitch and whine all they want. There's no property to rent. Why is there a show as rent I can't find a place to stay? It's like, well, you made it not possible for people to own and be landlords. So that's the rental property. And again, I'm reluctant. There's another thing young people can do. A buddy of mine did this where he bought a house and he rented out the rooms to his buddies. That's possible. Oh, by the way, speaking of what you said before, yes, absolutely do not go in halvesies with people. You never take on a business partner. Not in America. Americans are too stupid. They're too lazy. I've never seen a business partnership work in banking. Never. It's always one guy with the money doing all the work and his dude bro cocksucking dickhead business partner who just pisses away the money and sometimes embezzles it. So you don't do that on a smaller scale, going in halves with the house. No, you do it all yourself or not at all. But a buddy of mine bought a house, rented out the rooms to his buddies. You can do this, oh gosh, starting at 18, I guess, if you wanted. And there again, check tenants' rights. But you lay down the law. You say, listen, you dumb fucks, because men in their late teens and early 20s are dumb fucks. These are all the responsibilities. You're cleaning the kitchen, you're cleaning the bathrooms. It's done once a week. It's done on this day. There's no fucking around. There's no shirking your duties. You're paying rent. It's due this time. There's no parties unless I allow for it. I mean, you got to treat them like adult children because that's what men 18 to about 25 are as adult children. And it's possible. And the buddy I know, he made very good profit off of that. Allowed him to go and buy another house when he was ready to have a family that could handle children who don't pay rent, by the way. The children don't pay rent. Freeloading children. But that's another way to get into it is you have the rental property from your buddies. That is going to last 3 to at most probably 5 years because your buddies are gonna go find a girlfriend. They're gonna move in. They're gonna break up. Then they come back, and then they get married, and they're gone for a while. And by that time, you sold the house and moved on with your own life. And then they get divorced. Like, dude, bro, got a couch I could crash on. So that's another way to do it. A third way is, and this is where I talk about this in Reconnaissance Man. You should buy a house once. So don't be buying no house unless you know for a fact that that is ideally your forever home, or at least you're going to be there for a decade. So I strongly encourage young men and women to go travel around the United States or overseas if you want to buy property overseas and find where you want to live. That takes a long time. But invariably you'll find a place or the stars will align, you'll get a job at da, da, da. Oh, I love it. I love whatever, Austin, Texas. I want to buy a place here. And if you know you want it, that's fine. You could go look for a house if you have to move there immediately. But if you do your reconnaissance and you find a piece of property or find an area you want to live at someday, buy the piece of property there now. Get in on the land. Avoid future property inflation, and then down the road, build whatever piece of housing you want on it, assuming the codes and rules of the city, the ordinances allow you to do it. So that's another thing you can do. And then we could talk about the type of homes. You do not need the mass-produced McMansions in the suburbs that go for $500,000 on average. There are new technologies that have been in the works for quite some time, especially in prefab homes, and that includes everything from a shitty-ass single-wide trailer, who dang, to some really luxurious-looking prefab homes that you would not know are prefab homes. If you're interested, look at Wausau Homes, for an example. I'm not endorsing them, I'm just saying take a look. You look at them like, wow, that doesn't look like a prefab home. It's like a home. There's also Blocks, BLOX. There's building your own little, we talked about the bachelor hut here many times, where you build you don't have to do this, but a 3-car garage below, a 1-bedroom apartment above, and there you are. If you really want to do it on the dirt cheap, you could just have a trailer pulled up. There you go, live on a trailer. A lot of people, oh, but I'm living in a trailer. Yeah, but you ain't paying no rent. You got property taxes. That's it. Look, you just, and it's another thing for you young people to understand. You don't really need a house, right? You don't really need a house until you have like a family and you need people to house it in. And if you're young and still figuring things out in life and working and moving and hustling and all that, a trailer is, you just need a place to sleep. And that's kind of, I lived in basements for most of my adult life. Still to this day, I'm on year 3 being above a basement. But it's just, I was fine because I was sleeping most of the time. I wasn't conscious when I was there. I just need a place like store my meager belongings, have my clothes there, have a place to shower and shit, and then a place to sleep. Half the time I'd sleep on the couch anyway. And you get up and you go out. Out there is where your life. Well, you had to go out. You had to go work. You had to go do. So you don't need this fancy house. You just need a piece of land that you could stay on and sleep on, and some kind of shelter. So I mean, yeah, I've spent a summer in a trailer one time. It was fun. It was doable. Absolutely, totally doable. It was a little tight, a little weird. Um, yeah, but if it weren't for snow, oh yeah, bachelor hut. And you even got a 3-car garage. The bachelor hut is the way to do it. I think the bachelor hut is the way to go. But if you're in the South and there ain't no snow and you're okay if your car's out in the elements, you just do a carport. And I know a young lady, or maybe not so young, but a woman down in Tennessee who makes single 1-bedroom homes or mother-in-law homes. These little cabins, essentially, she makes. That's more than little fireplace, little one. More than enough, heats it up. Beds over there, kitchenettes over there, showers over there. My buddy Khan, he's got pretty much the exact same setup. Wouldn't take that much of materials to build. People are doing tough sheds now. But yes, all of that is contingent on finding a piece of property where the ordinances allow you to build such a thing or leave trailers on it, which is not, you can't be within 1,000 miles of a Karen. because Karen's not going to like that. And you'd say, well, can't people outvote Karen? Karens are a minority. Yes, but Karens control the dick of their pussy husbands, and hubby has to vote the way Karen tells him to, because most guys are pussies. And so you'll run into that issue with ordinances. Like, no, you can't have a trailer on the I own the property. Yes, but you can't do these things with it. Oh, especially HOAs. Like, I was looking at property, potentially just buying some empty land. And there's most of the land is pretty much picked over out here. It's either rocky, mountainous terrain that you really can't do anything with, or it's the farmers and the ranchers own it because, well, you need a shit ton of acreage for 1,000 head of cattle. And so it's almost like a suburb out here. Like, oh, here's a piece of property. I, I found one. What was it? 80,000, and it was almost 6 acres. I'm like, oh, I could parcel it off. I'm like, wait, what's this picture here of like a signage and monumentation? It's part of a development. I'm like, okay, well, can I buy the property and maybe parcel it out? And it's like, oh no, according to the HOA, I'm like, you ain't got no fucking houses yet. There's an HOA already. You can't subdivide this 5 piece of acres. That's it. The piece of property has to be 5 acres. And I'm like, what? Come on. Again, I'm not for the poor, but not every property in the world needs 5 acres. Where's the property? Like, here's a 1/4 acre. We're going to build some nice, sensible starter homes for younger people. No, you can't subdivide 5 acres. What the 5 acres? So that's a problem a lot of you young people are going to run into. A huge thing that'll help you in becoming a homeowner is having a remote skill. If you have even if it's a good skill, say engineering, you're probably going to have to be near a physical. You're going to have to attend. You're going to have to go to a physical place of work, which means you're going to have to live near a major metro or a medium metro, which means you're going to have all the rules and ordinances. If you're self-employed or you're remotely employed, you go get a Starlink, you go buy a piece of property out in the middle of fucking nowhere, drill yourself a well, get some solar panel, or you just have a trailer. But you can move wherever and there's no Karen HOA rules will require 5-acre minimum plot. I have no sympathy for the poor, none whatsoever. Like 95% of you did it to yourselves. There's very few people who are genuinely poor due to bad circumstances. But then I look at what not even the rich, but the wannabe rich, the upper middle income who still spend all their money, the Karens, the people who still think it's popular, and all the rules you put into like, oh, well, you can't do that, and you can't do this, and oh, it can't be more than 3 feet. Oh, I don't like it if it's got shingles. Fuck off, you fake wannabe rich people. So there's that. And then what was the other one? So we did prefab homes, blocks, custom building small homes, tough sheds, selecting property where you can do all that other stuff, remote employment, and then finally overseas, which I'm not an expert at by any stretch of the imagination. But if you can become remotely employed, and let's just be honest, if Americans, the people in power, don't start making it that we can build affordable housing for single or starter families, young couples, young people, if we are not going and if we're not going to train up the tradesmen and tradeswomen to build said housing, we're just going to send every dipshit to college and you're all going to major in philosophy or English or whatever worthless work avoidant horse shit. You follow my heart and stroke my dick, and the money will follow. Yeah, there's not gonna be it'd be one thing, all right, we ain't building the houses, but you could buy the land and put whatever you want on it. That'd be one thing, like, okay, then people would self-teach, and the economy is trying to get there. Like, here's like a prefab home. You just lay down a concrete foundation, put it on there. The ability to have affordable housing is there. The amount of rules and regulate go look at Portland with their rules and regulations, how like, oh, you can't build housing. Like, oh, fuck off. So it's there. I mean, we got the switch. We could solve the problem right here. If you just open up land to let younger people build the housing they need, that could happen. We could have affordable housing again. But no, really, really, privileged wifey poos. Just oh my god, I can't have middle income up and coming people building 2-bedroom houses. No, Herman. So, yeah, you may have to go overseas. And that's kind of the stage I'm at now where I'm looking around. I'm like, it's not worth it. These properties, I do my analysis. I'm like, that's not worth it. No, I just want to own some. Like, how hard is it to go buy a piece of property, put a cabin there with a well? I'm fortunate I could kind of do that with my property. But man, I guess in the past 3 years out here in South Dakota, I was like, what? Oh, we're all going to be suburb people now, huh? All right. What else we got? Yeah, and then renting is always good. Like if you got a roommate situation, usually roommates like if you have someone living in your house with you, they're not a tenant in a separate unit. The landlord rights are much stronger. So a roommate is an okay situation, especially if you're younger, because someone to talk to too. You got to screen out. You do month to month, like yeah, and I could kick you out anytime. Like if I'm sick of you, be upfront. But yeah, it still can be done. It shouldn't be this hard. It should they should have tailored it to like, hey, I'm a realtor. We got some housing in a new development for single people or your up and coming couples who don't have kids. Here's a development of starter homes. Look how nice it is. That in the olden day, I mean, go look at houses built in after World War II. That was it. Little small starter homes. It wasn't their forever homes. And then here you go. We'll serve you. And now it's like, oh, see, now there's some covenants with the HOA. See, now you have to have a certain type of fascia. I'm not joking. There was one over on the mountain in Rapid City, Athens. Look it up. You had to have an Italian designed villa looking thing. I'm like, what if I don't want an Italian designed villa looking? Like, I'm not going to build a building that's got some big lit up purple penis statue on it. Can you trust that I'm going to build something sensible? Nope, it had to look like it was sitting in some kind of fucking Tuscany village. Oh, fuck off with this shit. Fuck off. So there you are. All right. Wyoming. Who dang diggly? Dre. Fucking Dre. Wyoming recently ranked third smartest in U.S. Lick my balls. Ken Rose, $5. Thanks, Ken. Yeah, so there you go. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.